we have been or what has been done to us or how guilty we feel, he still loves us. And he sent Catherine of Siena to go up to the place of execution with Niccolo di Toldo because he wanted to allow Niccolo and all of us through this example to understand that there is no way we will ever be abandoned by God. And when we truly understand that, we will have courage to do whatever it takes to pray with our whole heart, to act with our whole being, to love in the way that he has loved us. And again, these women were, in terms of the cultural aspect, completely limited in what they could do. And in this culture, women are not. Imagine what you could possibly do with your prayers and your supplications and your own offerings. Again, I encourage you to read this. It's not gross. It's not like a gory thing. But when she sees him die and she's right there, she walks with him to the place of execution. She sees his soul ascending into heaven. And so if your shame is great, if the fear is great because of shame, and some people, I imagine in here, suffer from all sorts of things, abandonment, abuse, decisions that they may have made that they can't forgive themselves for, there is nothing that God does not love. And he gives you permission to love it. But according to St. Catherine and all the saints, you must know yourself in order to love yourself. So I'll conclude the conference by saying this. We are to be courageous with the gifts God has given to us in our state of life, in our homes, with our spouses and our children and our work. This doesn't mean that we cram the faith down people's throats. Rather, to have the courage to live authentically Christian lives in the plain view of everyone that we see and come into contact with. And to have the courage to back away from situations or even relationships that might discourage the cultivation of grace that God has given to us. To do these things according to God's divine law of love, even if it conflicts with what society or culture tells us is right. In short, this is the most important thing, that we are to be Christ in the world. And when we are Christ in the world, if we are truly united with him, we will never be afraid. Fear will take a back seat to grace and love. Because where love and hope exist, fear cannot. Fear is like the darkness, and love and hope are like the light. And in order to really become like Christ, not only do we have to love other people, not only do we have to love him as he has loved us, but it is required for us to love ourselves. And that is sometimes what requires the greatest amount of courage. And so what I encourage you to do in the next couple of hours that we have before lunch is I encourage you to take some time in silence, to turn off your cell phones. You'll survive for 2 hours, I promise. To reread some of these passages. To read Matthew 25, 16 and following, 14 and following. And to really dive in courageously to the love of God. To bask in the sun, that everything about you may be illuminated. And there's so much good about you. There's so much good that God has created you with. That you might push those mattresses off of you, put them on over the pea or the rock or whatever might have come from your own history and your own shame, your own past, and we all have it to some degree, and to let God love it. That you may have this unstoppable courage that these three women saints had, to do great and marvelous things, not only in the world, but in the place that it requires the most courage, and that is in our hearts. So may you be courageous, and may you be filled with hope, that you may go on to what we will talk about this afternoon, great love and great charity.